Hello, everyone. Welcome to another session of the Neer Study Club. I am super excited for tonight's study club because we get to talk about something that I actually really love. Not that I don't love teeth and veneers, but I am quite passionate about marketing, as you might assume. And tonight we're going to be diving into the world of social media, the world of video, how to grow social media, how to make video really work for you in your practice. And we have Luke here with us. So not only does Luke partner with Neer and help us out with our own social media content, Luke himself is quite big in the world of video production, social media, things like that. He has his own masterclass. I feel like I'm taking all your cool stuff to share, Luke. I'm going to pass it over to you to kind of introduce yourself, and then we can get into some good content.
For sure. Let's do it. Good to see you all. My name's Luke. Um, I, yeah, social media has been kind of my career, unchosen career path, but apparently I like to be in front of the camera. And so I learned in like 2021 that I'm pretty good at it. Since then, I started my agency. We've grown, gotten about, say, 4 billion impressions for several brands over my tenure. Um, in several different industries, um, creating like creating icons and ongoing characters and things that you can build a community around is kind of my passion. We created an icon for this company called ClickUp. It's kind of my started 4 years ago. Kind of my one of my career changers. Um, we just decided to do this video where we did like these stupid renditions of famous songs in an HR fashion. I'm not sure if any of you guys have seen them, but we were on the news and we got millions of views for it, and we were asked to travel globally to do like conferences and lead off conferences for a bunch of different industries. So that's kind of when I realized social media is kind of my thing. Organic, paid ads, whatever it is. Um, that's what I'm best at. So my favorite thing to do is just take whatever you have existing, whatever. Let's say you have a filming room, or you have clients, or your location's cool, or you have a specific trait about you that is kind of your superpower, or whatever it is. Taking whatever you have and turning it into like a polished content strategy um, is kind of my favorite thing to do, because doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter if you're like the shyest person in the world. There is content that you can come up with, and you can film, record, post. And honestly, gone are the days of TV. Gone are the days of, well, still works, but billboards. Now you can. I posted about this today. You can literally say in a video who you are and what you do, and you can get business from it. That's all you have to say, and you can get business from that. It's honestly magic. It's magical. It's weird to say, but so that's 2026. That's marketing in 2026. Is just holding this up, and so yeah,
So let's dive into that. And then just so that everybody's aware, drop questions in, raise your hand if you want to unmute and ask questions. Study Club is meant to be informal, it's meant to be educational, it's meant to be collaborative. Tonight, we're not going to focus so much on product stuff. We're focusing solely on the world of marketing, videos, digital marketing, things like that. Uh, Luke, you kind of touched on something which I think is interesting. Like you were talking about like how simple it is regardless of the persona, right? Um, so like in your experience, like let's frame this in the world of dentists, right? Because that's who we, all are on here. You and me excluded, obviously, but uh, in the world of dentistry, right? I've spoken personally to a couple of dentists that are kind of a little bit, let's say, overwhelmed at the idea of like where to even get started, right? If you were to, be chatting with them, what are like, 2 to 3 ideas of just simple content to do just to even get them out there?
yeah. The cool part about it is social media is just an avenue to talk to people. And so what I would say is kind of try to act like the cell phone isn't there and come up with a topic that you like telling someone about your business. So let's say something that you enjoy about what you do. Let's say it's something maybe, I don't know, could be consumer facing or it could be dentist to dentist type of content. But um, I think honestly, just taking your camera out and starting to talk is the way. I wouldn't have told you this 5 years ago, but nowadays it's like it's like going into your house. Your social media profile is like your house. When they come in, they want to know about you. They want to know what you're into, what you're doing. So when they come on your social profile, they want to know who you are. And so, literally, something I posted today that would be an easy way to start is telling people your story and saying like, I try to make it not as long winded because social media is a attention game. But just tell your story and say like, my name is blah, and I started this practice a little years ago. This is who I help. This is my favorite part about what I do, um, and just start posting things like that. I would say another thing is everything I do in marketing is starting with the pain points of my customers and working backwards. So that's another great type of video to make is um, get a tripod, get a cell phone, get a microphone, and just start talking about frequently asked questions and say like a lot of people when they come into dental practices they're worried about pain or they're worried about what if you mess up. Let me touch on that today. But talk like you're talking to your friend. Um, and gone are the days of being formal. You don't have to. It's not like a BNI meeting where you walk in and you're like, do some like opener and then you say, hi, my name is Zane, I'm a dentist. And it's just start talking. Just start talking like you are talking to your friend. That's all you need to do. So I would say the third type of video that I would do, that is like the easiest if I'm speaking to someone who's shy in front of the camera is honestly just you're a dentist. Hopefully your practice is doing okay, and hopefully you have enough money to spend on a Meta glasses. I would say just get Meta glasses and press record during a patient. Ask the patient if you can have their consent. Maybe give them a discount of something. I don't know, gift card, and just like film you doing your work, film you doing your things, your daily tasks. If you don't want Meta glasses, literally just hold it up in front of you and do your things during the day. People like to see that. They like to peer into your life. And if I have a dentist practice down the road and I've never met him, I'd like to know what their office looks like. I'd like to know what they do, how they treat patients. So yeah, three quick ideas. That's a very surface level, but that's what I would do if I was in your shoes.
I love it. You know, some of these people may not know, but if you take a look on our Instagram, Luke recently just tried out a moment with Dr. Joyce Kong. For doctors that are like delivering a moment or near, right? Kind of piggybacking off of like what you were saying of like POV, right? What type of content do you think that a doctor should be trying to collect during that time?
Yeah, well, let me put my moments in first. 1 second. There we go. Um, Look at that,
Awesome.
shiny. Um, I would say Joyce is a great person to follow. She's a solid dentist. She has great bedside manner. She is just there's a lot to learn from her. I'm sure you had her on this before, but um, she, it's annoying. It can be annoying having your phone out all the time and having a tripod, but maybe that's something that the receptionist can do, or maybe that's something that you have an intern. that can help you out with the cell phone and the tripod. At the end of the day, like, you can just film your day, of, let's say it's someone trying on their moment. I would say have marketing is having the cell phone out. That's how you market your brand. That's how you make money. You know, if you don't have your cell phone out, I think you're losing on quite a bit of like new patients and turnover and money. So have your cell phone out. That's the way you market yourself in 2026. And so for the Neer, filming that reaction was money, was gold for sure. I didn't get a good one because I've already had them in before, and like my reaction wasn't the same as Aaron's. But we had one of my friends come in and get a moment, and her reaction was genuine. Like, film the genuine reaction, and don't tell them you're filming, because they're probably going to try to act or put on a front. But filming their reaction, that's probably the bread and butter of that like content, is getting people's reactions. But get them the mirror, film that. But having your cell phone out more during it, if you want to get like some type of light to make the light look a little bit better, Joyce is really good at that. She has one of those tripods that has two lights on it. Like a ring light is fine, and just set it up on a tripod with a really good angle, like a close up angle. She takes the moment, puts them in so you can see that good before and after. Dentistry, cosmetic dentistry is all about the before and after. That's like the money. The reaction is great, but the before and after is kind of like what actually gets people through the door. So get good footage of the before and after, get them actually reacting. That's kind of the money shot, if you will.
Yeah, and like I'll kind of piggyback off of that, of like typical shots that I've seen around near and moment cases are kind of that of, are either close up, kind of at an off angle for the moment, just taking it in and putting it out, with your, doctor hands, you putting it in the patient's mouth. That's a really, really good shot just to showcase what you're doing, and it visually represents what moment is, right? The other good one that I've seen is you film during the try on phase, all the veneers on the teeth, and then you take one off at a time, and then you can loop that video back and forth so you can show all the veneers going on, all the veneers going off. But really kind of simple content like that, showcasing what this product actually is, and then a simple caption, or even, a voiceover, or like, I know I've done a few pieces of content where it's just like the talking head over a video. And that can be done in Instagram, or TikTok really has a really good kind of native green screen for video editing. Even if you're not on TikTok, it has a great video editor. I'll say that, for social media. Um, you touched on a couple of things which I feel like comes up almost anytime we talk about social media and things like that. In your experience, Luke, what are the tools that people actually need versus what's the nice to have for filming content in an office?
Um, well, you definitely need a cell phone. I would say it's the most
Mhm.
important. Um, get a tripod so you can go hands free. I would say it depends on if your practice is well lit or not. But I would say, to make it easy, get a ring light. That's probably the easiest form. I would say spend about, I don't know, 50 to $100 on a ring light, so it's not a really cheap one that'll break. Um, and then, I mean, if you can have a receptionist or an intern or something, that would honestly, if you have one who's willing to do this, I think that might be the biggest pull. Is whoever works there, having them just spend like 30 minutes a day if they can on just getting content. Um, I think that would be, for me, if I own a practice, that would be like probably the biggest driver. Um, is actually someone operating the camera while you're doing your thing. But I think, I mean, aside from gear, having like a plan, having I have a worksheet that I can send you guys if you'd like it to help with content, but it's kind of like a 30-day roadmap. But
Yeah.
having a plan, what I see all the time is I give people plans all the time of what to post, how to post it. That's customized, tailored to their practice, to their business, but they don't do it. So I think a plan is great, but having a coach is like, and I'm not selling myself at all. Having a coach is probably the biggest pull because everyone is full time, right? Everyone, no one. You take out your cell phone. You say I'm gonna batch content, record like 10 videos right now. It's so hard to do when you're in the middle of a busy day and your wife or husband texts you and there's issues with the insurance or the kids or whatever it is. You don't have time to do content. You don't think you have time to do content, and people misplace the belief of what content can do for their business. For dentists, especially cosmetic dentists, social media is, I mean, it's gold. So that's what I would say on that topic.
Love it. I mean, I think that that's great. And I'm sure kind of everybody that's on the call would love access to that playbook. And maybe we'll have to give you, typically we reserve the clinical lounge for dentists only, but maybe we'll have to bring you in there to help answer some questions later on, Luke.
Yeah,
But I think in terms of making time and all of that stuff, I think it's important to note on like the videos that we saw, let's say 5 years ago on social media were extremely polished. Like that's, I feel like back in the day when we were spending six figures a year on a marketing agency,
yeah,
and you know, working through content, and we had the cinematic cameras and all of that stuff. Um, I think we're far away from that today, where it's acceptable to be filming content on your walk, sitting in your car, parking before you leave. You know, at the end of the day, in the office, um, just in your kitchen, talking about dentistry works, right? I think touching on a point that Luke made earlier, social media is the home that we're inviting all of these kind of patients and prospective leads into, right? And really, the question that patients are trying to decide when finding a dentist and looking for a dentist on social media and looking for cosmetic dentistry is who is going to make them feel comfortable, right? Who does good work, right? We want to showcase that. But then who is also going to, at an emotional level, make them feel comfortable because the decision that they're making and the trust that they're placing in you is a big one, right? And they want to get to know you a little bit before coming in, right? And so whether that's on your daily walk with your kids, your dog, your thing, whatever you're doing, or in the kitchen making a smoothie before you go into work, having your cup of coffee, those are all acceptable today. Um, you know, I have a little green screen tarp behind me that I'll just throw up with a ring light in front of me, but sometimes I don't even do that. Like my hallway has a flat white wall that I film in front of sometimes. Um, you know, those things work. It doesn't need to be as fancy and as daunting as I think we all think it needs to be. It just needs to be content, essentially content that, you know, answers questions and gives people some insight into who you are. Um, one thing that I think is maybe a new topic is like, let's break down the elements of social media videos in terms of what is a hook, and then you know the remainder of the video that actually answers that question. So Luke, in your own words, what's a hook?
yeah. Think of a hook as, let's say you work for a newspaper and your boss, there was a robber who just robbed the bank down the street, and your boss was like, "We need people to actually read this article. How are we going to do that?" You create some very attention grabbing headline, right, on top of the article, to get people to read the article. That's the same thing as a video hook for what you're doing. How are people going to read? I mean, have some curiosity in the hook, have some shock value in the hook. So a hook can be a few different things. Um, let's say we are talking about like what's a good topic that dentists would like to talk about in a video, Patrick?
Let's take teeth whitening. That's a super easy
Teeth
one.
whitening. Okay, so teeth whitening. Let's say we have to come up with a hook for a video that you're going to do about teeth whitening. Um, you're going to talk about maybe a specific brand of teeth whitening that you like, and maybe some downfalls of the cheap brands. So a hook for that could be starting with a pain point, starting with like, for example, fear. Fear is a really good hook to use. As much as I don't like, it's called fear mongering, but as much as I don't like using fear, um, using it as a hook could change someone's mind about using a cheap whitener. And eventually they could be like, oh, I like this guy. He's smart. I'm going to follow him or I'm going to use his practice. So a good hook for that could be starting with something like beware, like before you use these brands or before you use a cheap whitening strip off Amazon, tr- like think about this or try this or like listen up, something like that. So the hook is the first like 3 seconds, and it can be either the text on the screen. People when they see a video, they usually like look visually. They say they read the text visually. And if you're just talking to camera, they're just going to think, oh, it's another person talking to camera. I don't really care. But if you have text on screen, that can hook them. They can be like, whatever your text is on screen, you want to make it as short as possible because people aren't going to read a long thing. So make it short and be like, beware of these white strips. Done. And then you can start talking. So immediately start talking during the video. I didn't mean to say wait for the hook. There's no waiting in the social media game. And then you could have a verbal hook too. So what are you saying in the beginning? Is it something that's going to hook the viewers? Um, a lot of people like to preload the juicy part of the video in the very beginning. The information of the juiciest part in the very beginning, so people have to like watch the video to get an answer. Um, and so and then like an action, like what are you doing? That could be a hook too. You know, it could be um, you holding the bad cheap box of white strips up and like throwing them in the trash, something that simple. So there's three types of hooks right there: text, visual, and verbal. But yeah, you want that to be like 3 seconds, and then go into the body of what you're about to say.
And I think that that's important and just simple practice. And like, I think, fear is one, comedy is another type of hook of kind of immediately hitting into a joke. Um, the other is just, I've seen quite a few dentists, you know, treat it as like almost informational of like treating it. We all see listicles, right? Like that used to be a big thing. I think it still definitely is, but it's now a big thing, I think, in terms of hooks of like my top 10 recommendations for this type of patient, right? Like, here's my top 10 recommendations for a patient who's wanting to whiten their smile, right? That's a decent hook to get somebody in. And then you can fill it with whatever information that you would normally tell a patient anywhere or anyways in a chair of like what to do to take care of their teeth. Brush your teeth, use whitening products, floss daily, those types of things, right? That type of content, doesn't need to be overly exciting, but bringing those people in and I think putting yourself in a educational format to where you pose a problem, you pose an educational point or something like that, and you position yourself to giving an answer to the patient, that's going to help kind of build that trust the patient's going to be having with you. Um, how often, Luke, do you think a Instagram, active dental office should be posting? Is it once a day, twice a day, once a week, whatever they can manage?
Yeah, it's whatever you can manage, how quickly you want to, how many at bats you want. Gone are the days of like having a beautiful feed. You don't need like the perfect feed. That's Instagram 2018. Right now, you just post just as there's just so much so much volume, so much saturation on social media, um, that there's people who post 3 to 5 times a day because they want more at bats. So if you have a really good system and really good strategy, um, then you can batch the content. Like I'm sure you guys know the top dental pages in the industry. I'm not sure who they are, but I've seen their videos. They're constantly batch contenting, they're batch filming, they're creating music videos, skits, whatever it is. Um, some people are posting 3 to 5 times a day. That's great, but you don't need to do that. I would say just like before it starts feeling daunting, if you're wanting to go off on the limb and start this social media journey, um, just try like maybe 3 times a week to start out. Um, it's and honestly, like I've had pages before that have had millions of followers where they don't want 3 videos a day. Like they're not. We started losing reach once we started posting more. But when you're starting out and trying to build a following, like that can help. Um, if it's on Instagram, really, really try trial reels. They're a huge lever for growth that I've been using with all of my brands. Um, you can once you post a video before you like press the post button on Instagram, you can scroll down and it says trial reels. Just toggle that on. It will. It's good because you can like test out different hooks of your videos. You can test out different videos, and it won't be shown to your audience. It'll be shown to a random audience to see if it'll do well. And then the next day, if it does well, you can post it to your main page. But I don't want to get too much in the weeds. I would say just be active on posting, starting out 3 times a week. But then stories are also a great way to stay on top of mind to a lot of people in your audience. So like really have a strategy for posting stories. Like let's say you have one patient a day. Like your story should be like, maybe a before and after of that person, and that can be a post and a story. And then maybe like footage of you like with another patient. Your audience wants to see that you're actually doing the work that you said you're doing if you're a dentist. Just have like a plan around each patient. Like how can you turn each patient into marketing? So doing the stories is great. Like I would say stories, have at least like 2 to 3 stories a day of you just day in the life routine of your practice. Help this patient today, whatever it is. Be active on stories and have like 2 to 3 a day. But I would say that number.
Awesome. Now, I want to get into how we make some of these doctors' lives a bit easier when it comes to posting and creating content. Not everybody has an intern or a super savvy social media assistant. In your mind, what are some tools that can like help take raw content that is being filmed and help generate some basic social media from it?
That's great. A huge. I keep saying lever. I don't know why. That's like the word of my day, I guess. A big lever for me that like has been helping a lot lately. That's very very low effort, but honestly, like some of my highest reach right now is taking a tripod. Just take a tripod. Let's say you're at the chair with a patient, or you're not. It's post patient. Um, Take a tripod and film yourself doing whatever. It doesn't matter. There's no audio in this. Um, Take that video. You can like edit in Instagram or whatever app you want to. I use CapCut for a lot of my for a lot of my editing. But you can edit it in Instagram. Think about something that whoever your audience is, if your audience is patients, like people in the local community, great. So if I don't know where y'all live, but I'm in San Clemente, so California. So if I wanted to do this, it's just text on screen video is what they call it. So you have the footage of you doing something as a dentist in the background, and then you have some type of text on screen. Make it last about 7 to 8 seconds, 7 to 8 seconds, the whole video in length. And that text on screen should be something that is relatable, informational, um, says something about you, elicits some kind of response, like it can be a poll or something. I don't know. But like for me, for example, this is just like I did it yesterday and it worked really well. I was putting gas in my car and it was like text on screen was the fact that it's this hypothetical, but like um since the year 30, if you made $400 million a year to now each year, you still wouldn't be as rich as Elon Musk. It's like a fun fact. It's like a crazy fact. And there could be a crazy fact about dentistry. This percentage of people doesn't brush their teeth or whatever it is. Put that text on screen over what you're doing. It doesn't matter really what you're doing. And those videos are super easy to make. You just have to come up with a text and they do really well because it showcases what you're thinking about. It like shows what you're thinking about as a dentist and what you care about and all that. So it could be a
Awesome.
joke. It can be like a funny dentist joke. Like what time is it? 2:30, So
I love it. I do want to call out that questions and Q&A is open if you have any questions for us, like specifics of like how to implement this in your practice if you're struggling with something or if you're trying to use a tool. Both of us have used like many tools when it comes to putting together content and things like that. Um, one last thing that we'll touch on before I think we'll get into like a nice little homework segment that I think that we can give everybody. Um, you know, Luke, I know you and I talk a lot about this in our own work, but where do you see kind of the role of AI playing into a good social media strategy?
um, that is an amazing, amazing question and one that I have like AI has completely changed my life, and I'm sure it's changing the lives of a lot of people. Even started. Um, I mean, ChatGPT is great. I use Claude, but there's like main tools that you should use. They're called LLMs, language learning models, but um, they each do pretty much the same thing, and they're now like about the same. People go back and forth of which one to use, but Codex, ChatGPT, and there's Claude that has Cowork. Um, I would say when it comes to social media, Claude is my best friend. Let me just give you a quick digestible thing that I do with Claude that like helps me out like crazy. So I have Claude. I have the max whatever one. It's like $100 a month, um, and it's called Cowork. And it can run these skills. It has like an agent that can run these like skills at a set time, multiple times a day, whatever you want. But what mine does, it runs every week. I need ideas to post content, right? So this is perfect for what we're talking about. Um, it scrapes the internet. It scrapes Reddit. It takes all the information that it finds. It does like deep research and data on whatever topic I want. For me, it's growing social media or B2B sales or whatever. So it scrapes that, gets a little bit of like news in the industry. It gets some tools that people would like to see and use. And it takes all of that and puts it into like a main document. And it takes all that data and then it turns it into, it also scrapes social media to see what's working, but it turns it into like concepts that I can run with. And if I like one of the concepts, I can ask Claude just to turn it into a script for me. So every week on Monday morning, I come into my office and I have 20 like scripts, tools, news, whatever scripts that I can actually film, um, that I already know have gone viral. They've already gone viral. So I'm just like repeating like something that could do really well. It's topics that my niche would really want to hear, or very valuable information, whatever it is. So that's for what you guys, what we're talking about today. That's like something that you can actually do. So how you do that is you go into Codex, you go into ChatGPT, or in my case, Claude. You get Cowork. It's like the max plan for $100 a month, and you just talk to it. You say, "Hey, you can have the transcription of this meeting. I don't know, and take what I just said and just put it into Claude and say like, hey, this guy told me to do the social media concept generator. Can you do that for me?" And it'll create a skill for you. Say, can you run it every Monday? Boom, every Monday you're gonna have it. You just need to download Claude and pay for the subscription.
I love it. I think in terms of using Claude or any of these tools, right? Having it feed ideas or starting off points helps. It limits the amount of like activity and brain function that like we need to devote into like what content am I going to post this week? What am I going to do about this, right? All of these things. It helps keep you organized, especially all of our dentists. Like we all know that you're busy. You're seeing a ton of patients. You own your own business. Like you got a lot going on. The last thing that you need to do is sit down an hour a week and do all this research. Like have somebody do the research for you, right? Make your life a little bit easier. And it can be there to help polish scripts. If you don't like a script for some reason, it will learn as you go. Um, Short of pretending to be you and having an AI avatar, like I don't think we're fully there yet. But in terms of, giving you the content to shoot on a weekly or, monthly basis, right? It can help, you know, steepen that learning curve and make it, a little bit quicker. Um, Before we hop off, Luke, if you were to give some homework to our dentists of like, after this call, I want everyone to do these three things, right? What would have them do?
And what would the goal be just for growth on
Getting
social media?
started on social media, growing on social media.
Yeah, I would say a guy who I really like, who kind of gives you it how it is. I don't like his personality much, but he's good at like giving tips. His profile is the real Brian Mark. I would say go follow him. He has some videos that like help you optimize your page, because there's some things that you should have like in your bio and what your picture should look like. That'll really help. But he gives really good like social media tips on like how to optimize things, and what to do and what to say and types of content and all that stuff. So the real Brian Mark, he's great. Go follow him. That's number one. Number two would be, yeah, I would say the AI portion. I would say the AI portion. Get ChatGPT, Codex, Claude with Cowork, whatever you get, and have it start talking to it about social media. Say like, hey, can you tell me best practices in social media? I'm a dentist. This is my story. This is like all the context. Just help me. Or give me a concept generation doc every Monday, or whatever it is that's going to help a ton. And then the third thing would be, I would say the third thing is have accountability, whatever that looks like for you, whatever works. So, like if you really want to like go all out for the end of this year and um, actually like try your hand at social media, I would say be accountable. which means, you know, talk to your audience and be like, just be posting or have a coach or like have a challenge with yourself saying, I'm going to post every day for the next 30 days or whatever that accountability looks like. Because a lot of people have these ideas and these goals, they don't reach them because if you don't post on social media, like no one's going to be like, hey, why aren't you posting? And like mad at you. So like it's easy just to not post. But truly is crazy magical what can happen. Like I posted the other day something that I wasn't even proud of. It was just like something that I said. And the founder of Grillo's Pickles reached out to me and we had a call today. So like it's you have no idea what can happen with social media. Um, in your case in dentistry, like there could be a huge patient, like maybe a group of patients that like see you on social media and decide to start coming to your practice. I don't know, but truly is magic. But those are the three things I would do.
Love it. I'm gonna be hitting you up for free pickles here soon.
Done, done,
We did have
done.
one question from Dr. Rita who just asked if we could send the breakdown of the plan that you have for beginners that you had mentioned earlier. Luke, if you can send that to me, I'll make sure that that's included in the recording of this and also the Claude recommendations. I think what I'll do is I will have my Claude agent put together like a how-to beginner document,
Yeah,
and we'll include that for everybody in the WhatsApp group, including of like how to build something super simple to help get you kind of moving, and like we'll have it something that you can fill out so that way you can put, who you are, where your practice is, who you are trying to target, the types of services that you provide, and like a short version of a story, right? Something that you can
yeah,
fill out, and then just copy and paste it in and get moving. Are there any
yeah.
other questions from anyone on the call tonight? I'll give it a couple of seconds here. Doesn't look like there's anything coming in. I do want to say thank you for everyone that joined the call tonight. Luke, oh wait, we do have one. What's the best way to generate hooks? That's actually a good question.
That is great. I would say start with all of your audience's pain points, um, and run it through Claude and see like, hey, honestly, okay, fine. Another tool I'll tell you about. It's called Sandcastles AI. It's like, I don't know, 10, $20 a month. Go on Sandcastles AI and they have like, you just type in your niche and they just have like a hook library of like all the best performing hooks. Sandcastles AI.
Awesome. We'll include
Yeah.
that. The other one that I typically tell dentists to do is like, we all know what our frequently asked questions are, right? Um, that's a great place to start of like the questions that you are so exhausted of answering in the chair from every patient that you see. That's a great place to start with hooks, right? Because
Yeah.
one, every patient's asking for it, meaning that every patient's searching for an answer, right? So that's another great place to, start, those things that you can rattle off the answer without even thinking about that, you're constantly talking to patients about. That's another great place to start. And it might be different demographically where you are in the US, right? A patient in New York City might have very different questions that they're asking about versus like a patient in Dallas, Texas, right? Or maybe the exact same. Who knows? But to your practice, what questions that you answer every day, those are that is a great place to start. Um,
Patrick, I just sent you the worksheet.
awesome.
Um, I need you guys to gatekeep that. I haven't unveiled it to anyone yet.
Okay. We will restrict it only to those who are
Yeah,
in the clinical lounge. And
yeah.
I'll send you an invite to that so that way you can be in there. Um, so uh, our clinical lounge is at least locked down to doctors who are part of the Neer network. Um, so we'll do it that way. Any last questions before we hop off here? Awesome. Well, keep an eye out for Luke on social media. Is your masterclass live yet?
Yeah, Ad Creative Academy
Awesome.
is where you can find it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll include that in the follow up as well. Luke has a masterclass online. If you're looking to get deeper into this, it's a great place to go, learn more, get active in this world of social media. And yeah, keep an eye out. Luke pops up on our social media pretty often, and pretty soon we're going to be doing a near case with Luke, which will be exciting to see. Um, well, thank you so much, Luke. I hope everyone has a great evening. And as always, we'll have this recording up live for everyone in the clinical lounge.
Cool.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Patrick.
everyone. All right, bye.
All right. See ya.